Welcome to Dad Space. So glad to have you back. Today we're going to be talking about discipline for your kids and in your home. How to discipline your kids and make it stick. Make it beneficial. Make it something that's a learning thing that makes your kids better, but doesn't make it worse. You're on Dad Space. You ready? Let's get you disciplined. We've got the coaches here with us. Coach is going to talk to us and share 4 things with us on how to make disciplining our kids more effective here on Dad Space. So glad to have you here. You ready? Here we go. So one of the topics that we hear from dads in our group and through conversations is how to discipline, Dave. How do you do it? How do you do it in an effective way that has results that we really need in life for our kids? We want our kids to have boundaries and guardrails and be successful in life. And how do we do that? So that's what we want to talk about here on Dad Space. So glad to have you with me again. Hope things are well with you and your family. And we're in November of 2022, getting close to the end of the year, which sounds crazy, but we're getting there, right? And okay, so the one thing that I heard recently, which I really liked, was the whole idea that discipline and how you distribute discipline to your kids should make them better in the long term and should add strength to them and make them better. Now, we're going to talk from a coach's perspective. And in coaching, when somebody runs the wrong play or is not where they should be or their head's not in the game or whatever, instead of singling them out as a player and making them feel terrible, typically coaches will have the player go do an activity that makes them stronger, better, more focused, whether that's running laps, doing more drills, exercising, something that builds them up physically and refocuses and resets them. So often as dads, we tend to default to a discipline that makes the situation worse. Taking something away that somebody loves, or taking away some freedom, like grounding, or taking away screen time, something. And in that situation, it seems to make things worse. So I love the idea and the visual of a coach sending out someone to do laps when things aren't going well. And in the process of doing laps, that person comes back stronger because they're exercising muscles and they're getting their head back in the game. And I think that's one thing we need as dads. We need our kids to get their heads back in the game and be part of the family and the community of our home, our school. And how do we do that? So there's 4 things I want to talk about around the benefits of disciplining your kids. But let's kind of keep this in mind from the coach's perspective, that all these things should make our kids stronger and not make it worse. So here we go. Coach, you ready? Number 1. So number 1 is to have and understand the boundaries. So children have young, fresh minds, eager to learn, and they're a sponge. And as a parent, we need to understand how our actions and how the way we treat them and how we discipline molds them and shapes their future. The one thing that we should do is to teach them how to understand their own boundaries. So they understand and get a grasp that life does have boundaries. There's reactions. There are results to what happens and the decisions we make. And as hard as that is for us, we need to let our kids understand the impacts of the decisions that they make. So disciplining them when they mess up teaches them to understand their limits and how much they can stretch their limits. So that's one way, first, right off the bat, that we can discipline our kids without causing them to pull away from us. Number 2, coach, you ready? The benefit of disciplining your kids is to foster independence. Disciplining our kids helps them to master the art of being independent. When they learn that there are consequences await them if they stray from what we have set in our home as our guide, as our moral compass, whatever that is for you, they grow and get to think and make decisions independently. It's important because you don't expect your kids to remain kids forever. They won't. Like I mentioned to you before, my 3 kids are now grown. Jen and I have an empty house. We're empty nesters. It happens so quickly. If you can raise them in a way where they understand that the results of their actions have impact. Within the home, to them personally, to you as parents, that's a big benefit to disciplining your kids. So number 3, coach, you ready? To teach responsibility. For us, with our kids when they were small, we wanted them to understand that their actions, again, had results. We wanted them to see how they fit within the family and just understanding their role and how they fit in the big scheme of our world. To teach responsibility, to give your kids some freedom, but the freedom is earned and the freedom is respected and the freedom is cherished and it grows. And I think there's been many times, even when I was a young dad, where, there was opportunities where I could probably have been a better father in the sense where I wanted to control because the kids were little or I knew better or whatever that is. And I think in loosening some of that control as a father and allowing my kids to mess up, allowing my kids to make mistakes, but then using that opportunity to not put them down, but then giving them the opportunity to build themselves up in character. Like we said, going back to coaching, building up the character, building up the muscle, building up the strength, and turning something negative into a learning opportunity so the kids could grow. I think as they take on more responsibility in the home, more responsibility for themselves, and contributing to the family, that's where they can see themselves grow. So teach them some responsibility. Number 4, you ready? To establish their own self-discipline. By teaching discipline and by modeling discipline as a parent and how you live your life, in front of your kids, in front of your family, in front of your spouse, in front of your community, your boss. Those are all key indicators your kids are watching. And if you have the do as I say, don't do as I do mantra, it's not going to work out well for you as a parent. So you need to emulate what you expect your kids to live life like. And by instilling discipline in your kids as they grow, it helps them to develop their own self-discipline. And self-discipline is something that they will take on into their adult years. It'll take them through school, all that stuff. And it'll be the one thing, their moral compass, that you'll be helping them to shape from a very young age. So how can you develop this self-discipline? It's by giving them opportunities to show and demonstrate to you that even in their younger years, they can still make decisions and live with the choices they make. One of the reasons for disciplining children is to foster that self-discipline. You don't want to spend the better part of your day checking up on your kids all the time. There's only so much that you can do as a parent. And remember, you can't be with your kids all the time. And I think that's the one thing that, as my kids got older, is realizing that they will not be under my roof for the rest of their life, that they won't be within eyesight, earshot, and there is going to be a day when I will not know where they are and I will not know what's going on in their lives. And as an empty nester, I tell you, reality really sinks in. So let's go back to the beginning again. As a parent, and you want to help create some discipline in your life, there's this idea that if you can follow the coaching method that you see in sports, where if somebody makes a mistake, if somebody's not living up to the expectations of the team, if somebody's not contributing, if somebody's heart and mind is not in it, they didn't come to play, that the coach will separate them and give them a task. And in that task, they will develop more muscle, they'll develop more strength, they will develop a stronger passion for the team, and then come back to the team in a way to contribute. Think of your home as a sporting team, whatever that is, football, hockey, soccer, whatever. And how does your team function? If you're the coach of your home, how does your team play? Is everyone on the same team? Is everybody headed towards the right direction? Is everybody working together? Are you dealing with team members that need a little bit more work? And instead of taking things away, add things to them that make them stronger. Just like a coach would add a lap or two, or some push-ups, or something. What can you add to your kid's life that will make them stronger instead of taking something away, which could make things worse? Some thoughts for you. Thank you for checking out Dad Space. We always love hearing from you, and we always love having dads on to talk about their dad story. So we got some openings in the calendar. If you are interested and you'd love to come on and talk about your family, talk about your dad journey, wherever you are on that journey, we would love to hear from you. If you got a great dad story, go check out dadspace.ca, and there's links there for everything. That's the easiest way to find us. And you can get more information about what we do, our community, and connect with us. We'd love to talk to you further. Thank you for being part of Dad Space. It's always fun to have another listener join us. And this is your first time listening. You got a few episodes you can go back and listen to. I'd appreciate it if you go check those out. Check out some of our great interviews and things we talked about in the past. More stuff coming up. Love to talk to you. Love to chat. My name is Dave. I live in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And I'm on a mission to help dads be better dads, better spouses, better community members, better employees, better bosses, better dads. Here on Dad Space. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. Yeah, you, me, let's get together and do this again. Thanks.